Greetings to all. We are gathered here today to attend the World Ethnosport Forum, which aims to revitalize the traditional sports and games, wherein I was initially supposed to participate as an observer. However, the organizing committee asked me to, in my capacity as the chairman of Ad Hoc Advisory Committee of UNESCO Traditional Sports and Games, on safeguarding and promotion of traditional sports and games, to share with you all the work and scope of the traditional sports and games project, which is currently being undertaken by UNESCO through the Ad Hoc Committee. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizing committee for inviting me to this platform and share my views. Allow me to shed some light on the background to the TSG project, engaged in revitalizing the program on the safeguarding and promotion of traditional sports and games. A third collective consultation on traditional sports and games, which is having abbreviation TSG, was held at UNESCO headquarters in Paris from 6th to 7th July 2017. The consultation gathered experts from sports federations and associations, academics, representatives of member states of UNESCO, and non-governmental organizations, representative of whom constituted the Ad Hoc Committee on Traditional Sports and Games in Paris. Ladies and gentlemen, as the elected chairman of Ad Hoc Committee, I was tasked with the supervision of the elaboration of policy guideline, establishment of international platform, and the development of the online encyclopedia. Please allow me to take this opportunity to present a brief introduction of the TSG project and work undertaken in this regard thus far. The need for the promotion and preservation of the traditional sports and games was first recognized in 1999 at the Third International Conference of Ministers and Senior Officials responsible for physical education and sports, having abbreviation of MINIPS, and the introduction of the draft International Charter on Traditional Games and Sports was proposed at the 4 MINIPS conference in 2004, and subsequently prepared by the Intergovernmental Committee for Physical Education and Sports, having abbreviation of CIGIP, in 2005. MINIPS recommended the member states find appropriate mechanism for sharing information about traditional games and sports and undertake efforts to preserve and protect the same. Pursuant to these recommendations, UNESCO and International Association of Traditional Wrestling Sports, which is having abbreviation IATWS, entered into a partnership agreement in 2008 with an aim to encourage the preservation of traditional sports and games. Given their significant benefit for the cultural diversity of the society globally, until now, IATWS has been the key partner of UNESCO in the operationalization and sustenance of the TSG project, and more recently in implementation of the revival of the project, and has organized various activities such as scientific conferences, green festivals, Play for Peace, etc. And as a result of the last collective consultation meeting at UNESCO, we have been able to widen the framework of by involving experienced and qualified experts in the field throughout various continents. Adopted in 1979, adopted in 1978 by Resolution 20C/1/5.5/2 of the General Conference, amended in 1991 and revised in 2015 by the Resolution 38/38C/43, the International Charter for Physical Education and Physical Activity in Sports promotes the safeguarding and promotion of the traditional sports and games. UNESCO has convened 3 collective consultations on the outcome of minutes till to date. IATWS was established as an international organization aiming to serve as an international platform to promote and develop traditional sports and games at the global level, particularly focused on the traditional wrestling sports. However, as an elected chairman of the ad hoc committee of TSG, I wish to take mission of IATWS and make it benchmark for the working groups that have been formulated to aid to overall success of the committee's target of inter alia, providing an international platform focused on the preservation of and promotion of the traditional sports and games. Currently, 4 ad hoc committees, subcommittees are working on various aspects which aims to protect, promote and develop TSG. These are: number 1, working group on the online encyclopedia. The online encyclopedia will amalgamate informations about all traditional games available on the database and make use of the new technologies, digital as well as print media. Let me tell you that UNESCO has already published in the past a big encyclopedia which is available in printed form, and now as this committee is given this task to enhance this by including more database inside, so we are trying to move it on the online so that everyone can access it and they can see whatever the traditional games are available in the world at the moment. Second working group is a group on the policy guideline. This policy guideline will focus on the preservation and transmission of the knowledge and practices on the traditional sports and games, keeping in mind all stakeholders involved in the traditional sports and games community. Number 3, we have working group on the establishment of the international platform. This international platform will work to coordinate activities and endeavor being undertaken by specialist TSG organizations across the globe and regulate them under one uniform framework. This is really important to understand. Number 4, we are having this working group on the management of resource and communication. This will handle the public relation aspects of the committee, generate funds and work for the overall promotion of the traditional sports and game project. Safeguarding and promoting traditional sports and games requires developing knowledge, sharing information, and raising awareness on its intangible heritage. Traditional sports and games are facing since decades a paradox. There is a revamped interest on traditional sports and games matters at national, regional, and international level, which is not concordant with its apparent marginalization. The increased professionalizations and commercialization of sports, the corresponding shift in values that they encompass, the global preponderance of certain sporting activities, and the neglect of physical education system represent important challenges contrasting with the status quo on the development of the traditional sports and games. With this in mind, the committee's work aims to focus on advocacy, aiming on to safeguard, promote and develop the traditional sports and games, and to ensure that they form an integral part of the national and international cultural development. The committee's ultimate goal to coordinate to the promotion and development of the traditional sports and games and facilitate the promotion and understanding of the cultural identity and diversity in view of achieving sports for peace, and in context of achieving education for all and the Millennium Development Goal. Through the TSG project, we can all collectively work for the promotions and development of the traditional sports and games in not only our respective countries, but all over the world. As the international platform and stage to set up an intergovernmental framework, we hope to bring on board all governments interested in the preservation and promotion of their intangible cultural heritage through their respective traditional sports and games. I would suggest that all members present here today approach their respective governments and volunteer details and information about their respective traditional games and sports, so that the same may be incorporated into the database being maintained by the UNESCO, through which we will also be able to ensure representation of all games throughout the world. Ladies and gentlemen, taking this occasion, let me express my thanks to Honorable Minister, to Honorable Bilal Khan, Chairman of this organizing committee, as well as the members of this organizing committee to invite me over here. As I earlier mentioned that I was supposed to come here just as an observer, but organizing committee requested to introduce the UNESCO framework and working scope. So I came on this task to explain to you a little bit about these future plans of the UNESCO, how the traditional games are being preserved under UNESCO Forum, and all the governments involved in this are at par, and they are permanent delegates who are sitting in UNESCO. They are well aware of this fact that the traditional sports and games are being now taken care by the UNESCO. So all of you are once again invited to share your thoughts, to share your traditional sports and games by requesting your respective governments, by requesting to your sports ministry or culture ministry to convey the same to the UNESCO Secretariat, or maybe the Chairman Secretariat, whatever you like, so that we can have this database available and we can give an equal opportunity to all of the world around, so that no one should be kept aloof. So thank you very much, Mr. Bilal. It's really nice to be here, the mayor of this city and the other organizers, those who have organized this initiative. Ethnosports is very important, and this intangible sports are really important, and we all need to work together as a team. And believe me, and I can assure you that UNESCO will take care of everyone initiative, and we will try to do our level best to preserve and to protect this and safeguard the sports and games of traditional all around the world. Thank you very much. With these words, I would like to thank once again for all the audience and all the participants of this forum, that you have been so kind to hear me patiently. Thank you very much.